guys, how's it going? I nearly didn't catch that. Have you guys ever gone to like catch your cymbal and you kind of catch it with your fingers like that? It's really painful. Did you know? Yeah. Anyway, welcome to this lesson. This is a kind of beginner level, kind of basic fill to get into. So for anyone that's looking to understand fills a little bit more clearly and understand kind of the workings behind them, this is a great one to get into. And it's an interesting orchestration. And we're going to talk a little bit about the mechanics of getting our hands going to the right place. We're going to start off, when you repeat this, what I always say is when you're practicing a fill, try and practice it with a groove. So don't just go, oh, look, a fill. Nailed it. You need to, when you're playing with a song, you'll always be doing it some kind of groove, and then the fill, and then you need to get back to the groove without stopping. So that little kind of connection between them is usually the toughest part of playing any kind of fill. So, but we're just going to play a normal kind of bass and snare and type groove you might have seen before. And we're going to start it with a crash, because usually when you've done a fill, you want that big explosion sound. So bass drum and a crash cymbal together, then a hi-hat, then a snare drum and a hi-hat, and then another hi-hat. So 1 and 2 and. And that's what we're going to be practicing this fill with. And the fill is going to be this. It's all going to be right, left, right, left, right, left, right, left. But it's when it goes onto the toms and stuff, and you might look at the notation and go, yeah, not a clue what that means. It's just a load of dots on funny lines. But there's only 4 things you need to remember for a 4-piece drum kit. You've got your rack tom, okay, your tom up here, that's in the top gap. Your snare drum is in the next gap down. Your floor tom, which is this one over here, is in the next gap down, in the third gap. You can see these last 2 notes are there. And then your bass drum, which you can see at the beginning, is in that bottom gap. So I've got 4 drums on this drum kit. It's going from highest to the middle, down to the lower, down to the lowest, down there. So it's actually quite easy to understand how to read drum music, but it's easy to forget as well. So, but that's one way you can think of it. It's going from highest to lowest. If you've got more toms, they tend to go on the lines rather than in between them. Anyway, but this fill is just going to be this. The first half is fairly straightforward. 2 notes on the snare drum, just right, left. And then we're going up to the rack tom, and we're going to play right, left. So just right, left, right, left. And that's the first half. And then the second half is where it gets a little bit more mechanical. We're going to go right hand on the snare, and then left hand on the rack tom. So you could think of it as we had 2 notes on the snare, 2 notes on the tom, and then 1 note on the snare, 1 note on the tom. And then, to finish off, we're just going to have 2 notes on the floor tom. It's going bom bom. So 2 on, 2, 1, 2, 1, 1, and then 2 on the floor tom. And that's the whole fill. And the great thing about it is that little placement of the snare at the end actually falls where a normal snare on a groove would be, which is why it kind of grooves. So you go, so when you've got your groove, 1 and 2 and 3 and 4, that's your backbeat there that everyone nods their head to. That's still in the fill. So you've got 1, 2, 3, 4. That on beat 4 there is still there. So that's what makes this quite a musical fill to go for. So if when you're designing your fills, have that in mind that you always come back to the snare on 2 and 4. And like I say, it makes it a lot more musical. People can keep nodding their heads rather than just it sounding like. So you can see always kind of coming back there makes your fills more musical. So good thing to consider when you're trying to do a fill. But 1 E and that's the fill just there. After you finish the 2 rack toms up here though, right, left, your right hand's coming back down. And what you can do is leave your left hand up there because you've got 2 lefts in a row up there. So right, left, leave the left hand there. Right hand coming to the snare, and then you've got another left. So in terms of speeding it up, you don't always want your hands to come back to here. You want to be thinking ahead. So right, left, leave the left hand, right on the snare, another left, then both hands will come down to the floor tom. It seems straightforward, but when you get this thing faster, there's a little bit of preparation. Creating the muscle memory well is what's going to help you be able to play this a lot quicker. Anyway, I'm going to do a short solo now. I'm just going to groove around a bit, and this is what I want you to try and do, is just do a groove, fill, a groove, a fill. You can groove for as long as you want, and when you're ready, okay, here we go. And into the fill, and just be aware of that, and then try this stuff with music as well. Don't just groove over on the hi-hat either. You can do it on your ride, so you might have like a loud chorus section in your ride cymbal, and try the same fill. Because that feels different, because you're coming, when you finish the fill, you're coming back to a different place, and you're coming from a different place. So try and practice all the fills that you learn in multiple different positions. So here we go. guys, so you can see, just trying it grooves, different styles, different speeds, and make sure you're nice and happy and comfortable with it. Have some fun.